I am Alexis Hail with Kibo Commerce, and welcome to this week's series of Talking Shop. I run the product marketing and sales enablement for the commerce side of our business, and I am here with a good friend of Kibo, longtime friend and guest, Brian Beck. Brian is a longtime practitioner, having served as VP of e-commerce for a number of different companies. So he is the best talking head on this stuff. He's also co-founded the Master B2B Thought Leadership Series, along with being a managing partner of Enceiba, the industry's only Amazon consultancy focused on B2B companies. And if you haven't heard, which you will throughout this, I'm sure, he's authored a wildly popular book called Billion Dollar B2B Ecommerce. And so welcome, Brian. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'd love to ask a question about that book to start off, if I can.
Sure. Well, Alexis, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience and to talk with you and just catch up as well. But fire away, any questions you'd like.
Yeah, so I'm really curious, and you can correct me on the timing, but I think you released Billion Dollar B2B Ecommerce right around like April 2020, right when things started shutting down. Is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't planned that way. Gosh, it took me about 4 years to write it. And it just so happened that that whole pandemic hit in March of 2020, and I published it the next month. So it was not that I would wish a pandemic on anyone or the world or what have you, but it just so happened that at the same time the book published, the world was going into lockdown and people were scrambling to go online to order things because they couldn't do it any other way. So
yeah, call it good timing, right? Or maybe
yes,
maybe you're psychic.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think that the tagline, or at least kind of like the subline on or subtitle on the front of the book was "Seize the Opportunity." So I'm wondering, we're 2 years past pandemic time, but now we're in what some people are lovingly referring to as an economic downturn. Others are calling a recession or looming recession.
Right.
Do you still think it's an ideal time for B2B to seize the opportunity in digital commerce?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, I hear a lot and read a lot about companies that can actually create, recessions are times or downturns are times when companies win market share. And it is really an ideal time to really focus in on, areas that you can do better as a company. And, a lot of companies through the pandemic did double down on their e-commerce efforts, on their digital transformation efforts. And, gosh, they're reaping the benefits now. Recessions and downturns are a time when companies win market share, they build competitive advantage, and those that are, strong to begin with become even stronger. I think a lot of that has to do with, recognizing the opportunity that remains in front of companies to eliminate friction in the way they do business with their customers. And so absolutely, I talk to companies and practitioners every single day. Just today, I've spoken to 3 this morning about what they're doing in digital e-commerce and their transformation. And the companies that I'm talking to are all marching forward. They may be pulling back in some areas of their business. They may be having some continued supply chain issues, et cetera, but digital and e-commerce is not an area they are scaling back in. So yeah, I absolutely continue to think it is a good time to double down and capture the opportunity, as I say, seize it, right?
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with you, and I promise neither one of us are biased in that, right? Like there's
Right,
there's
not at
no
all.
benefit to us, right?